Well, hello. I see Mark Sweetman, but
Oh.
this is the off night. This is the off night with a few other things going on. But Mark, just say hello. It's the off.
Hi.
And this is your host and MC, Mark Sweetman. We're doing a bipolar sort of a combination here, you know. So it's sort of like Mark is one side of the brain, and I'm the other side of the brain. I'm not sure which one it is. And combined together, we just can't make this thing work right. Anyway, on the other hand, we got our other guys here. We got we got Jason, we got Sam, and do we have anybody to interview? I don't know, but we're gonna see what we can do. Okay, please.
All
there
right.
she is.
Oh,
Hello, it's our poet. It's our resident poet.
Hi,
All right,
We'll be
she's
doing
here.
that
She's
pretty
gonna do a
soon.
poetry read soon. So
All right, we had our customary awkward open like we always do. I have got two laptops and a cell phone that I'm connected to everybody with, which I don't know. Anyway, great to have you back, Andy. It was
nice
good to
being
see
here.
you. Good to see you last night. I wanted to mention this to you. Probably should have mentioned it before we went on the air, but we can take care of it now.
Okay.
You sent me a text message about sending me a clip of something.
Yeah, I had the clip and I sent it to you. I don't know. It may have been too much, too large for your phone.
It must have been because when I got the clip, it says, "Here is the set," and there was nothing attached to it. So
yeah, well, it's going to be I forgot to flip the photo from one side to the other, so it's going to be black the whole time, except for you'll be able to hear stuff on it.
that's all we need. Really, all I really need is to hear it. So
yeah. So the problem is it's too much memory. So I have to cut the memory in half, and then I'll be able to send.
You know what Joe and I did. Joe, the animal, and I did with the videos. Remember, he used to take everybody's video until the end of the year when we put the kibosh on that. I have a Google account where I have 2 terabytes of space, and so all I did was I gave him permission to put one. I just created one folder that he could put all those videos on, and then he would just upload all that folder. I could probably do the same thing for you, where I create a folder that you and I share, and then you can just upload stuff to that. Then you don't have to worry about. Then you don't have to worry about size. It's just a matter of how much time it takes for that stuff to go up line.
Okay, all right.
So you can do that.
Something. It's just I did listen to it a couple of times. I can always find new material because I'm always.
Which performance was this? The one you just did?
Yeah, last night.
Okay.
All right. So I can always go ahead.
I wasn't really paying attention that much last night because I was sort of. We had a long, what do you call it? Wait list.
Yeah, we had some good acts last night.
We did have some good acts, and I like when especially when Skippy and Floyd show up.
Yeah,
they are really, really funny.
Are you promoting the Young Club?
I'm promoting them. We talk about the Young Club every week.
Okay. No show next Sunday.
Yeah, no show next Sunday. We decided that before we knew the Lions weren't going to be in it, but still, we didn't do a Super Bowl the last 2 years, so this will be the 3rd year now. Now, remember when we were at the Mix and at the Yellow Barn? We used to do Super Bowl shows all the time. We were sort of like counter programming. That was the whole.
Yeah. Oh yeah. People who didn't want to watch the game. Yeah.
We would do the show and then we'd go over to Curram's and watch the Super Bowl at his place.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so that.
Do you want your poem?
Yeah, let's get.
But the Mix wasn't a bar, though. The Mix wasn't a bar. So it's like.
Yeah, there's a lot that I like about that not being a bar. One, when we put the jar out for donations, we did a lot better.
Yeah.
Because everybody thought, well, I'm drinking the wine and the beer.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna donate $5 or $6.
Yeah.
And so we usually get $100 on a Sunday for that. And now they're all spending their money on the beer and the wine
and the food, the restaurant.
At the restaurant. So,
well, there's a caveat to that.
We're getting $6 to $9.
There's a caveat to that. We'd never paid for a catering license, and when we were doing the alcohol, it was not necessarily
legal.
Yes. So it was a non-legal deal.
You don't know that. You checked. There's a waiver or something.
Yeah, we didn't do it though. That's what I'm saying. We didn't.
You weren't charging.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So it was legal. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I think
right.
if
they were 21 or over, and they all were.
If anybody ever came in from the Liquor Control Commission or the Ypsilanti Police, I think Tim was, and Tim and I were instructed to accuse each other of bringing it. You know, so I thought you brought it. I didn't bring it. I thought you brought it.
This is all fiction. It never happened.
Never happened. It was all.
All right. Well, I'm going to take our good friend Andy down, and just for a moment, just everybody relax, and put Susan on here. You'll be back. All right.
All right. You want the poem?
Yep.
All right. Here we go. Antony Blinken visits the Middle East. Negotiations now. Will there be peace? Gaza's people are starving. 500,000-fold. King Charles has cancer. Buckingham Palace has told. Rapper Killer Mike was arrested. Should we care? The Grammys were awarded. No surprises there. The Japanese embassy says Taylor Swift won't be late. She'll make it to the Super Bowl, but haters gonna hate. Super Bowl is 49ers versus Chiefs. On Sunday, I'll watch. But Lions aren't playing, so I'm bound to be cross. And that's your poem.
That's your poem for the week.
Bring everybody back.
All right, we'll get everybody back up here first. We'll get Andy back up here.
Hey, yeah. Nice poem. Really good. Nice poem.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. You know, I only know Killer Mike from being on Bill Maher's show. But I got to say, when they arrest you and your name is Killer Mike, maybe that's part of the problem.
When you win 3 Grammys, who do you got that you wanted to commit assault and battery against? I mean, come on. Just take your 3 Grammys and go home peacefully.
My girlfriend. Who knows? Anyway, let's get the rest of the crew out here. Here's our friend from New York. Please welcome Sam Greenfield. Hello, Sam. Good to see you.
Hi, Sam.
And from the proving grounds, somewhere out in Michigan, our test driver, our own crash test dummy himself. Here he is, Jason Grant.
That would be me.
How's that job going?
Well, I would have loved to have been at the show last night, but they were offering me $40 an hour to drive a car.
You got to do what you got to do, man.
Nice.
And I got to ask you guys, do you know what I will do for $40 an hour?
Do we want to know?
We know what you do for 20, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I do it twice as hard. Yeah, so exactly.
Twice as hard. That's my favorite movie.
As well, it should be. All hands on deck. The Saving Ryan's Privates. There's a plethora of films with where the tag twice as hard really.
The hooker who had an affair with the Secretary of State, Debbie Does Dallas.
God.
Ooh.
Remember Debbie Does Dallas? And the Academy gave that no nominations that year. Can you believe it?
You know my favorite part of that movie? At the end of the movie. Well,
Yes.
First of all, the guy she's having sex with, his name is Mr. Greenfield.
Yes.
So that fucking me. But at the end of the movie, she's asleep in a bed, and this guy crawls in with her, and she goes, "Who are you? Don't you remember I fucked you in the last movie?" She goes, "Oh yeah, come on in."
Sam, is that your thumb in front of your forehead there?
Are you just glad to see me?
That too.
All right, now that everybody's here, I can tell you I saw 3 great movies in a space of 6 days.
Okay.
Through Screen Actors Guild screenings. We went to a movie theater, and they had interviews with the stars of the movies. So the first one we saw was American Fiction.
Great film.
With Jeffrey Wright. What's his name? The guy who was in This Is Us, who played his brother.
Oh, I can't remember. I
It's
didn't
something.
watch
His middle name is K. His middle initials is K. I can't remember. Anyway,
Man.
Jeffrey Wright.
Sterling K. Brown.
Sterling. Thank you very much. He was great. He's nominated for an Oscar. Jeffrey Wright is nominated for an Oscar. Leslie Uggams is in it,
Yeah.
Right.
playing his
Wow.
mother,
Fantastic.
playing their mother. They play
Yeah.
brothers. Issa Rae is in it,
Oh, she's good.
and it was a wonderful movie. And then the second movie I saw was Rustin,
Oh.
which is about Bayard Rustin, who was, now keep this in mind, this is 1963.
Mm-hmm.
He was openly gay, a black man, openly
Yeah.
gay, a
Communist.
Quaker who organized the 250,000 people attending March on Washington.
Wow.
Chris Rock was great playing Roy Wilkins, the head of the NAACP.
Hmm.
Jeffrey Wright was great playing Adam Clayton Powell. It's a
God,
wonderful
there's a-
movie.
There's a name.
And then the third movie was Naiad with Annette Bening
Oh.
playing Diana Naiad, who at the age of 64 swam from
Swam the
Cuba
English
to
Channel.
from Cuba to Key West, 90 miles,
Ooh.
over 100 miles rather. No, the English Channel's 21. This was
Yeah.
100 and something miles, and it took her 5 tries.
Wow.
One of the tries put her in the hospital, and Jodie
Yeah.
Foster plays her friend, not a lover. They said we dated for a while, but it was no way.
It
But
did,
plays
yeah.
her best friend, Bonnie. And as you know, the people who are actually the people themselves, they never look as good as
Right.
the
As
and
the
Ned
actors.
Bening did this entire movie without makeup. You know,
Wow.
maybe some foundation, for the camera.
You're
but
in
no
the
makeup.
water for the
And Jodie Foster is an attractive woman, and in real life, the woman who played who's actually Bonnie,
Yeah.
not trying to be mean, but she bears a startling resemblance to Geddy Lee.
Hey, has Jodie Foster ever admitted to being gay? Is that?
Oh
or-
yeah,
or-
she's
Yeah.
got a wife.
She's
Okay.
married.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. I just was
Been
wondering.
married for a while. Married to Alexandra Hedison, Al Hedison's wife. Excuse me, daughter.
Yeah.
Oh,
David
really?
Hedison's daughter.
Yeah. David Hedison. Yeah. Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, sadly, she doesn't do much acting anymore.
That's by choice.
I know. Hey, when you've won an Oscar, what, 12, 13?
Twice.
Yeah.
Twice.
I mean, you've done it. What more do you need to do? You can do whatever you want, and leave it at that. I mean,
And a French major at Yale.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what's her name? Who was the? She just passed away recently. She was in The Hustler with Paul Newman. She played sort of the femme
Patricia
fatale.
Neal.
No,
Lee
Oh,
Remick.
no, the Hustler.
A Hustler. God damn it! I want to say Stockard Channing, and that's absolutely wrong.
No, it's not Stockard Channing.
It's not Stockard Channing.
Was it Lee Remick?
No,
Wasn't Lee Remick? No, we're close. We're missing all. We're getting near the target here. It's like
We're circling it. We're circling it.
we're circling the target here.
We're like buzzards over the
Yeah.
fresh kill.
She was in Twin Peaks in the original series.
she was in.
She was Carrie's mom. And
Yes.
but my point is that she left Hollywood shortly after doing The Hustler for 10 years. She's like, okay, we're good. We got it.
Yeah, look it up. Her
Because
real
we're
name
all-
is Yetta Rosenblatt, but I don't know her stage name. It is.
No, I love it. That's a great name. I'd almost use that instead of a stage name. But when you've reached a point in your career where you've done something along those lines, it's almost like what
Piper Laurie.
Piper Laurie. God.
And
who
can you believe that? And she wouldn't go with Yetta Rosenblatt.
I know.
Yeah, she just passed away. Piper Laurie.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. And of course, who didn't love her in Carrie when she was in that refined, very reserved, very internal, almost Ingmar Bergman-like sort of portrayal of as Carrie's mom, and Sissy Spacek, who also,
If she had been smarter, she would have put that silverware in a safe.
Got to admit, Carrie, perfect 70s movie. In terms of 70s horror flicks,
I never saw it in the 70s.
Really? Well,
That's the movie that developed my crush on Amy Irving.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I had a crush on Amy Irving. Everybody.
And then
No,
an
I had a
early,
crush on Amy Irving.
was-
And I interviewed Amy Irving, and I screwed it up so bad, and she was so sweet to let me off the hook.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, what happened was I think I told you this. Her husband at the time, she divorced him, which gives Sam hope. Um,
Spielberg.
no. After him, Bruno Barreto, Brazilian director who directed Donna Floor and Her Two Husbands. If you know that movie.
Yeah, I know that.
But I said to her, "So your husband's from Brazil?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "So do you speak Brazilian?" And she goes, "I think you mean Portuguese." And I went, "Well, actually, the Brazilians say Brazilian. And because you see, in 1503, the Pope at the time drew a vertical line down South America, and everything on the right of it was Brazil, and everything on the left of it was South America, was the rest of South America." And she went, "Nice save." Remember, you were asking me, one of you asked me the other day, the worst interview I ever had. And I think I said Tim Robbins.
Yes.
You want to know the irony of that?
What's that?
The worst interview I ever had was not Tim Robbins. It was Susan Sarandon.
Really?
She acted like she had a plane to catch, and I was the reason she couldn't get on the plane.
Oh.
She's not doing very well. You know.
Good.
I love her.
I know a woman, a friend of mine, was Elaine May's assistant for years. She was an actress in Hollywood. We just spoke on the phone today, and she said that one time she went to something where Elaine May was there, and because she was her assistant, she went with her to these things. And in the front seat was Susan Sarandon and her then husband, Chris Sarandon, who played Al Pacino's lover in Dog Day Afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And she said that Chris Sarandon, she just eviscerated him, just yelling at him, yelling in a car, screaming at him, chewing him out, And I said to her, I said to my friend, I said, there's a movie called The Lovely Bones about a guy who killed a child, and Susan Sarandon was in it, and a friend of ours, my wife and I, was their son played the little boy. And there's a tradition in Hollywood, not a tradition, but something you do. If an actor, an adult actor, is working with a kid, and the kid is reading lines, you stand there while the kid is reading lines, so they'll have someone to bounce it off of. I mean, De Niro does this with a kid. Russell Crowe does this with a kid. They all do it with the kid, so the kid will feel comfortable. She wouldn't do it.
Well, maybe we can get her a job on the cast or crew of the next Alec Baldwin vehicle, where she'll play the director of photography.
She could just play a gun sheet.
Wow.
Okay, Janet, Rocky Horror Picture Show. Scholar Janet.
Great in Rocky Horror.
Damn it, Janet.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's sad because she's a great actress.
You a miserable human being.
She is that.
I'm told that Jeffrey Wright is difficult to work with, but the thing is, again, he falls in that category of, yes, he's difficult, but he's a genius. So if you work with him,
did you see him in Syriana?
No, but I remember the first film I saw him in was Basquiat, if I'm not mistaken.
Basquiat?
Yeah, if I'm saying that proper. Where David Bowie plays Andy Warhol. That's originally why I rented the film, and then I just kind of fell in love with the movie, And it's like, no, you can tell this guy's he's got some chops. If he's difficult, that's probably for like Daniel Day-Lewis. He's going to be a little hard here and there. But
what was the movie that Al Pacino was in where he played like a Dominican gangster?
Oh, gosh.
Penelope and Miller played his
Carlito's
girlfriend.
Way? Carlito's Way? Was it Carlito's
Yes.
Way? Yes.
Well, in the second one of those, Jeffrey Wright was in it, and a friend of mine who's from the Dominican Republic said his Dominican accent was flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless.
Perfect. Yeah.
He said because most actors, when they're told they're playing someone Latino, they just go, Oh, no, you don't, Lucy. You know, and that's kind of the extent of it. But he really had it down.
Go watch a few episodes of I Love Lucy. Pick up the Desi Arnaz.
I think
thing.
you've got it all down now. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Which, by the way, people were shocked when I remember CBS executives were saying, "Well, I don't know if they're going to buy it. These two people are really married."
Well,
It's like,
you know
what?
the story about Desi. Desi
Well, there's
was
several.
the first. You know, he ran that show.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were the first show to have a 3-camera shoot.
Yep.
They were the first show to have the star of the show, him, advertising a product.
Yep.
Some cigarette. But
Yep.
the best thing was when he asked the people at RKO, "Would you mind if we kept these shows for so if we want to show them again?" And the people at RKO said, "Show them again? Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Knock yourself out. Yeah. Yeah. The
He,
thing was that
he invented Desi invented the rerun.
He
Yeah.
sure did.
And
then a fat guy gave us rerun, and it was a whole other story.
Yeah, well, he paid for the he actually paid for the film. He bought the film, and they said,
"That's right.
Well,
that's
it's
exactly
yours.
Right."
Right. I mean, and then he, amongst other things, he was on the Mothers-in-Law, which was the Desilu production. He had 5 different credits in terms of production, executive producer, and all that. Got into a big old fight with Roger C. Carmel. I don't know if that was over closet
Not a pleasant
space.
guy.
No, but again, no, but at any rate, yeah, but he ended up firing him off that, and that kind of screwed up his career. But Desi was definitely in it to make some money, and they bought RKO and a few other studio lots for.
Oh, by the way, you know that what's his name? Oh, the guy. Oh God, I can't remember these people's names. He does that show after Colbert, Comics Unleashed.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Byron Allen.
Byron
Allen.
Allen.
You know he owns the Weather Channel, right?
Yes, he does.
He
yes.
owns the Weather Channel.
That's
He
correct. You know
owns
what
the
he's,
Weather
you know
Channel.
what he's
He's-
positioning himself to buy now? You ready? Everybody
Okay.
sitting down?
Yeah,
Paramount.
yeah.
I've heard that.
Wow.
I've heard
Yeah.
that. I've heard that too.
And the first thing I thought was, well, why not him?
Why
Well,
not?
if you
He's
mean-
a very smart guy.
How
His
does
name
he
the
get
comes up.
business.
Channel?
His
Huh?
name comes up. His name comes up for buying one of the LA sports franchises too. Not the Dodgers or Rams, but like the Lakers and the Ducks. And
He's
whatever.
not going to buy the Lakers because Jeannie Buss won't sell it.
Yeah, but anyway,
Well-
his name always comes up as somebody who will buy
Mhm.
a sports. Someday,
But
will
he's
buy,
a very smart guy.
Is that Dr. Buss's widow?
No, that's Dr. Buss's daughter,
daughter. Okay.
who is married to, get ready, Jay Moore.
Jay Moore, the
Oh
comedian.
my God, Jay Moore managed to land that.
Read more about it in my new book, You Lucky Fucker.
I
There's
mean,
a whole story about him. They don't sleep in the same bed.
Who cares? It
Because
doesn't matter.
Not me. Because,
Yeah.
And by the way, she's beautiful.
Well, there's that too. But I
But
mean,
she's 62. He's 54.
Right.
And they don't sleep in the same bed because he snores.
Yeah, it's understandable.
I can see that.
But
I
yeah,
don't sleep in the same bed as Barbara because, how does she put it? Oh, I'm me.
Yeah, turn of a phrase.
I mean,
A turn of a phrase.
if the widow Ford were offering to marry me at her tender age of 307, the answer.
What
would
is she
be
now?
yes.
94 or something like that?
Well, I think she was born in 94, as in the original 94. Not
That's very funny.
94, 95.
Very
But her
funny.
daughter's the one who runs the show, right? Runs
Yeah,
the-
she turned it over to her daughter.
Yeah.
She turned it over to her daughter. I think it was 4 years ago.
Right, and
and they're doing a bang-up job.
well. Yeah, it's amazing when you don't have. For years we had the general manager of the Lions, this guy named Russ Thomas, and he got that job because he was William Clay Ford's golfing buddy. He was like a local real
So
estate
sad when that happens.
card sharp, real estate hustler, tennis pro.
Make him sound
basically-
like James Woods in Casino.
Less
He,
charisma.
that's
Less
about what he
charisma.
was. Yeah.
Yeah, and with and slightly
You're Lester, right? You're the
Yeah.
card shark,
sharp,
tennis hustler, pimp.
pimp. Yeah,
You know what I
that was-
love? He
that
calls
was
him a
Russ
pimp,
Thomas.
and the guy James Woods is playing goes, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's
yeah, that's me.
that's me.
All right, you
What
guys
happened
follow.
to
You
him,
guys
by
follow.
the way?
Who? James Woods.
James Woods, I mean, is a wonderful actor, and it cannot be
He's
because he's a
insane.
conservative. It can't be.
he's just insane. Have you ever listened to the guy? He's one of these guys. He makes a lot of sense for a few minutes, much like the stopped clock is right twice a day kind of thing. And then the sanity thing kind of moves on, and then it's like, okay, all right, hold on. There's more than a few screws loose. Okay, so now we're over into the put the tinfoil hat on, lead shield.
Now is he Jim Caviezel insane, or is he?
I can't even get a grip on Caviezel.
Well, Caviezel is a QAnon guy.
I know
Well,
that kind of, or is he? Who's the other insane guy? Randy Quaid. Is he Randy Quaid insane?
We're more Randy Quaid.
No, Randy Quaid is beyond insane. First of all, three of the people I'm talking to, all three of the people I'm talking to, have beards. Okay,
Yeah,
all three of you, and all of you look pretty normal. Well, Andy,
Well,
but you do, because, and the reason you do is because despite how your beard looks, stop it, you shy bitch. But despite how your beard looks, your eyes and your mouth look normal. Okay, right. Randy Quaid looks like you're his next meal. and he I knew him when he was married to his first wife, Emma, who was a terrific woman, and he dumped her for the crazy bitch he's with now.
Yeah.
And they were arrested once because they tried to run out on a hotel bill.
Yep.
Yeah, that was when they escaped to Canada. Remember that? Canadian John.
And if you see him in The Last Detail, he's absolutely perfect in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's going to.
He was great in Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah.
He was an SNL player.
Yeah. He's gone completely fucking nuts. And
he was great in the National Lampoon Vacation movies.
Oh yeah.
Yep. No, that.
So let me ask you something. I mean, none of us know, but do you think it's her, or do you think this is a natural evolution?
Drugs.
It could be,
or too many Hydrox cookies.
Yeah,
definitely that.
That'll do it.
Sometimes, again, in this day and age,
his brother used to hang out at the Improv all the time. Dennis. Is it Dennis? Yeah,
Dennis.
Dennis Quaid used to hang out at the Improv all the time.
Now, see, here's a guy, Dennis Quaid. He's a Trump supporter. He's getting work.
Yeah,
he works.
He's not a dick. He's not a dick about it.
Drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't get it, but
well,
I'm voting for Trump. Okay. Do you want this? Read for this part. Okay, fine.
Fine. Yeah. We can do that.
There's a lot of people like that out there, though.
Well, I mean, look at
John Voight. John Voight's a conservative.
No, Voight's nuts. Voight is nuts. Voight said that Trump is the greatest president since Abe Lincoln. And they said to him, what about FDR? He says, the worst president in my lifetime. Wow. Hello?
Wow.
Huh? Hey?
Well, he wasn't born when
sure
FDR was still,
or
was he?
Yeah. No, he was born after FDR. You're talking about John Voight? John Voight isn't that old. FDR would have been dead.
Of course he is. He's 85.
He's 85?
I know, but okay, 85 would have been put in what year? Would have been born in 39.
Then he was alive when Roosevelt was president.
You're right.
Well, I don't think he really had much interest in policy at 6 years old. I'm just guessing.
I mean, I was alive when Truman was president. I was 4.
Yes. I mean,
I was born.
And even then I said, you dropped the bomb, you fuck.
I would have been, why'd you stop at 2? There were still plenty of places.
A real man could have found another Jap city, you say.
Eisenhower was president when I was born.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, my mother took me to the inaugural parade, and it was Eisenhower, and they showed Nixon going by in his car, and my mother said, and I said, did I do anything? She said, you were scared of him.
Well, in Ann Arbor, we all point out the place where Kennedy came and addressed the students at the steps of the Union. No one bothers to point out that in the same campaign season, Nixon made a stop down at the train station, and we're like, yeah, great, so what?
Yeah.
And now you look at him.
Nixon did introduce the Peace Corps.
Some of the stuff that's
going
on.
That's why it was a major thing. That was the first time he introduced the Peace Corps ever. So
I
that's
know,
why
Andy.
it's a plaque
Yes,
on that thing.
I wasn't disputing that, Andy.
You
Thank
didn't
you.
add it in
Thank
though.
you.
You left
All
it
right,
out.
Andy, lighten
Just like you
up.
leave out
Thank you
most
for
of the stuff
clarifying
about
that, Andy.
anything that happens with the Democrats.
Or sheath your claws, Mabel.
Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
Of course,
You're welcome.
your
I just
contribution
want
is
to help you with your memory.
no
Jason,
no
once in a
problem.
while.
As well you should, Andy.
How about if I stick my
a
size
man,
6 foot up your ass?
a man who hasn't been able to find a razor since Deliverance the musical debuted in his backyard.
Deliverance the
Um, yeah,
musical.
Well, a man who gets paid $10,000 a year to use his beard for
I want to write the
wonderful
lyrics.
purposes.
Deliverance the musical. Talk about a backbeat.
Yeah. I want to write the lyrics for dueling banjos.
Boy, that musical would be great. You know, the Ned Beatty scene would be a wonderful scene to reenact.
I'm going to do it now. I'm going to write the musical.
The
I'm going to write
scene,
the musical version of Delivered. I think I could sell it.
Until you wake up in the morning
there's
and don't do it.
there's
When
a
you're
scene
alone in the woods, don't worry, somebody will come and help you. It's like, hey,
smile with a pretty mouth and
That's
squeal
right.
like the pig you are.
I see a full moon and I'm gone in.
ooh,
Does someone have a sponge to put under Ned? He might be a little sticky after the last night.
So it was Ronnie Cox.
Yes, great in that
Ned
movie.
Beatty.
Ned Beatty.
Yep.
John
John
Voight.
Voight.
And
And
Burt,
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds.
And does Ned Beatty say one of two things? Can Burt show up with that bow 5 minutes earlier, or does he say, "Listen, hold off on that bow thing for a few minutes. I've got an idea."
By the way,
my favorite bit was from Gilbert Gottfried. You know, who decided to give Ned Beatty that scene? You know, Reynolds, do you think he should? No, I think Ned Beatty needs that scene. Yeah, that's what I think he needs. Yes. No, hey John, you think? No, I think Ned Beatty should do that scene. Yes, I think Ned Beatty is perfect for that scene. Yes.
I believe the four of them pulled straws.
Yeah.
Well, they pulled something. Maybe it was a straw. Maybe it was something else. Who knows?
Yeah, you think it was straws, but
I think they're probably pulled rank. You know?
I'll tell you what that movie did, and I say this as someone who was considerably older than any of you when I saw it. It put an end to men doing rape jokes.
Yeah, and not only that, it was not a good date movie.
Yeah.
Well, it depends.
Movie. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're going out with John Wayne Gacy and a Boy Scout troop, then this is exactly the film. And it's like, okay, kids, who wants to go camping?
Well, I wanted to take this one girl, but she was already a pain in the ass. You see.
Oh dear. Well,
I read the book before I saw the film.
It was in Braille.
No. It was written.
By Dickey, James Dickey.
James Dickey.
Yeah.
James Dickey, who was before he was known for the Deliverance, he was one of the top poets in the country. He was of that generation. When we thought we liked poetry back in the 50s.
Well,
you know who liked poetry back in the 50s? Guys
faggots.
who were trying to get laid.
Faggots.
Yes. Yeah.
That too. Yeah. Just
And
listening to Rod McHugh.
Oh, I think Robert Browning is really underrated. Now, if you excuse me, I'm going to choke on my own vomit.
Two paths go through a woods, and one involves you and me getting laid. What do you think? Okay.
Yeah. And then I tell you, you've got a pretty mouth, and then the next thing you know, you're squealing, and I'm selling you for breakfast meats, and
there's a lot more that happened. There's a lot more that happened in Deliverance than just Ned Beatty getting cornhole.
Well, yeah, there's Ronnie Cox getting killed, but we don't know if he's getting killed because he just kind of falls over.
Well, when we find him in the river with his one arm tied around the back of his head, we assume he's dead.
And then we have the nightmare scene where the body just sort of slowly comes to the surface. The town being destroyed by the whole damming process.
You know what was a great movie shot though? When Burt Reynolds is holding that bow taut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bert's great in that movie.
Sure.
I mean, Burt is at his.
Burt was a terrific actor.
Yeah,
the most terrifying point was the banjo playing blind kid. So I thought it was a horror film.
Wasn't blind.
Best kid.
Right.
He had narrow little eyes. Wasn't blind.
Okay.
It's called inbreeding. Yeah. Andy, you know about that sort of thing, right?
It's when you go to what is it? The old joke when you go to family.
No, I know you do. I come from a long line of people who have sex with other people outside of the base.
You come from a branch of barely sentient human beings who've only recently learned how to walk upright and wipe themselves.
Face it, Andy, your family tree doesn't even fork.
Well, they all have degrees. So I'm going to say that, even if we did cross a line or maybe, came up a
My
branch
mother was
once
at
or
least
twice.
willing to admit that she was going to marry an ex-German war criminal just to marry outside of the family for a change. And,
Wow.
and for her at work, I grew up with all the combination assets you would expect from a hillbilly marrying a German.
Can I say something? Are you
Sure.
ever really an ex-German war criminal?
I'd like to think.
No.
Ask Kurt Volzheimer. He had Alzheimer's disease where you forget you're a
Forgot
Nazi.
he was a Nazi.
Yeah, so I think if you work hard enough, absolutely.
I think I told you this when I was a kid. The American Nazi Party had headquarters in suburban D.C.
Yes.
This is how many times I called them. You ready? 625 North Rogers Street, Arlington, Virginia.
But that was after George Lincoln had ate a bullet at that point, though, right?
Yes, he died a couple of years later after this.
Oh,
but so every Jewish kid I knew would call that number and say something like, "Go fuck yourself," and they would go, "You little kike, I'll put your head in an oven." They weren't shy. And so I had this one friend, and he goes, "Oh, I'm dying to call him, but I'm scared." I go, "What are you scared of?" This is way before caller ID.
Yes,
I said, "What are you scared of? Just call them. Doesn't matter."
And they send Alex Haley to interview the dude.
Yes.
I love it.
No. He interviewed Robert Shelton, head of the KKK.
Oh, I thought he interviewed George Lincoln Rockwell as well.
No, he interviewed Robert Shelton, head of the KKK.
Well, either one is that's a get. That's a get.
Because in Roots 2,
yeah,
Marlon Brando played Robert Shelton.
God.
And they had Dorian Harewood playing Alex Haley, who
At least if
him.
you were in the KKK, better fried food than what the Nazis would have
Can't
had.
beat it.
A lot of a lot of potatoes. I mean, you can only do so much with that sort of thing.
And the jerk chicken, don't ask.
Yeah, exactly. But you go to a KKK rally, there's pies, there's burning crosses, there's inbreeding, there's everything you want, really, when you think about it.
It's amazing. They've replaced that hood with a MAGA hat. It's kind of interesting. Listen, anytime you're talking, we were talking about people who are nuts. Anytime you think that it's not really Joe Biden, it's actually James Woods. You're on a trip to Looney Tuneville. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No one ever asked them, where did you get that info from? You're never asked that. They're never asked that.
As I've noted many times, I'm listening to a lot of Art Bell because I've stumbled into the Art Bell archive.
Loved Art Bell.
Again, someone who understood radio, theater, the mind. But you know what? He did challenge people. When you had like a guy on last night, he's got 0 point energy. He's got a device and a machine that he can take Tesla technology and Art's like, send me a machine that does this. Send me a machine that runs on water. You guys say you've got all this stuff. You have this stuff that can just take static electricity out of the air and run a motor. Send me the demonstrate that. And the guy would always hum and haw and this and
well,
that.
Of course he did, because he got caught.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so Art wasn't. I mean, other times he was credulous.
That's the thing I liked about Art. He wasn't having it.
No, I mean, there were times you had people call on who were like, "I'm a witch, I'm a devil worshiper," and he's like, "Go ahead, Satan worshiper, on line 1, harlot."
Well,
the witch.
There was a guy who was on the same station I was at, where Bell broadcast from originally, which is KXNT in Vegas. And there was another guy named Lou Epton.
I've heard that name.
Lou was a conspiracy theorist par excellence, and he accepted any theory you put out there.
Right.
He said, "I have it on good authority." As soon as you hear that, it's a lie.
It's a lie.
He said, I have it on good authority that the Clintons have cornered the soybean market.
God, I know the Clintons.
It gets better. And they're selling 800 million tons. Let me say that again. 800 million tons of soybeans to the Iranians in exchange for their nuclear secrets. And this is what Lou would say. Well, Bubba.
God, the Clintons were always great for the conspiracy. Ron Brown's plane goes down. They found a hole in his skull, and and then they had the one survivor knocked off, and it's like, that's a great story, and I love hearing it in the middle of the night. But
Bob.
can you?
I'm sorry.
Can you
There's a guy
prove
named Bob
any of it?
Grant.
Yes. Oh yes. Yes.
Bob
go on.
Grant. His real name was Roberto Gigante. He
Yeah.
wore a wig,
Yep.
changed his name, and he hated people who wouldn't tell the truth. And
Yeah.
so when Ron Brown went down, oh, I love that. That was a nice poem. When Ron Brown went down, and he was also a stone racist. What's his name?
Grant.
Bob Grant. Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, and he actually said this on the air. He said, "Well, they say that there may be some survivors, but that's just me being a pessimist."
Yeah.
And he got fired.
Wow.
He got fired on the spot.
Was he the one?
They
who used
went
to
to
tell
commercial
people to go...
and they said, "You're off the air," and fired him.
Yeah.
And then there was another guy broadcasting on that station. I can't remember
out of
his
New
name.
York?
Yes, WABC.
Yeah. Wasn't he the one who'd tell people to go gargle razor blades?
No, that was Joe Pine.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, there you go.
That was Joe Pine. Jay Diamond was the other guy. And Jay Diamond was holding out for more money. So Bob Iger, who was the head of ABC, who fired Grant, from his lips to the boss, to the head of the network, fire him. Okay.
Right.
And then they said, and this is only on radio. Well, who's going to take his place for the 2.5 hours he has left? And the program director said, "Well, we have Jay Diamond. What's his story?" "Well, he's been coming in late lately." "Why?" "Well, he's holding out for more money." "He's fired too." Right then, right there. So there was a woman broadcaster named Lynn Samuels. And for the entire time, she had to take both their spots.
Mm-hmm.
And she spent hour after hour after hour taking calls, but essentially saying nothing more than Bob no longer is in our employ, and we wish him the best. Jay is no longer in our employ, and we wish him over and over and over for 4.5 hours.
Sam, you've worked in the business. I don't need to tell you, but I mean that in Detroit, because Detroit was always a very tough radio market. I mean, very
tough, very tough,
hard nosed. And it was great where I was. I used to get New York radio if the atmospherics were right. You could get some radio stations.
I know, edgy for CBS, right?
Who's that?
That's Andy.
Andy.
Sorry.
Mute your fucking microphone, Andy, before I rip your beard out. Okay, now then, never interrupt me again. Sorry, Andy. I'm just kidding. I love you. In fact, we'll be going to the Motel 6 later on tonight.
The boathouse.
I'm on. Oh, you've been there. No, my point was that Detroit was a very tough market, and the one thing I did learn was that you could get sort of attached to a particular radio crew or a host or whatever, and they could be gone. One of my favorite sports,
unless they were at WJR, then they'd stay there for 30 years.
Yeah, that was the only place they'd get paid too. If you had the WJR jobs, you were getting a good pay. The rest of the guys were working day jobs or whatever. We had a sports station that they cut to go to the inaugural address for Obama in 2009, and when they came back, everyone had been fired, and it was a network feed. And no goodbye, no nothing, just it was crazy. It always taught me just how bloodthirsty, how absolutely heartless the business is.
I was just looking in the ads for radio work, and they said there's an opening at WJR. Well, the first thing I do when I see that there's an opening, the first thing I do is I say, let me see who else is on the lineup, in their lineup. And based on that, I'll know if I have a shot. Well, the first name I saw was Mark Levin.
Yes.
So I knew I had no shot whatsoever.
Yeah.
No sense in even applying.
They were a huge backer of Hannity back in the day when Hannity was beginning to move out from just his Atlanta.
Right.
And Hannity just gives me crotch rash. I just can't stand that dude. To me, he's a grifter. Whatever his political persuasions
I know
are,
him. And the thing that bothers
you told
me about him,
you've had some dealings with him and his ego and whatnot.
Well, the thing about him that irritates me is there's two things that are more important to him than anything at all.
Yeah,
One
him and
is
him.
access, in other words, access to the president, access,
Right.
and the other is
So-
ratings. And I understand that. But at no time does he ever say, I got this wrong.
No.
He'll say it in private. He'll say it in private, but he will never say it out loud. And that makes you're not a broadcaster anymore. You're a partisan.
Well, he came out of the school of the guys who wanted to be Rush Limbaugh, without understanding that Rush Limbaugh, for whatever he was a good radio dude first.
Terrific
first
radio guy. Terrific.
Who understood, what bombast was about and when to
But
roll it, when to reel it
yourself.
in.
Don't be him. Be
Exactly.
yourself.
Exactly. But he never could figure that out. And again, to me, he's always been sort of this grifter. I mean, he's attached at the anus to Lindsey Graham, and that there condemns you in my eyes. I mean, again, I'm one of these weird Republicans who despises the management of the Republican Party. Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell.
Oh, you're not alone. You're not alone.
No, I know I'm not. And they hate us too, and that's fine. Just like the Van Andels and the DeVosses, that inbred knuckle-dragging branch
there's a
in
real
Michigan.
there's a real divide now, a serious divide between the Senate Republicans and the House Republicans.
Yes, it's going to be
serious
ugly.
Because the Senate Republicans are trying to make sense, and the House Republicans are essentially just redneck yahoos. This guy Chip Roy from Texas. I mean, he looks like a guy who's about to mug a gay guy just because it was on a day.
Oh God! It looks like he'd be a roadie for a Dee Snider Twisted Sister reunion tour, late 1990s.
He looks like a guy who's about to sue you because he didn't like the way his tattoo came out.
Yeah, I'm going to say this because I know nobody watches this show.
Yeah,
but that district that was Peter Myers' district that he lost because he voted for the impeachment of the president. You know what I'm talking about?
Not offhand, but go ahead.
He was the Republican from Grand Rapids.
Okay.
That lost his seat. He got primaried by a guy that was in Trump's White House.
Oh, okay.
And the Democrats, or some Democrats, I'm not going to say how far up the Democratic Party this went because they keep it hush-hush, supported, campaigned for, threw money at even the Trump guy.
Yeah, they do that.
Because they figured they had a better chance of the Democrat beating the Trump guy than they did
beating They did beat him?
But yet the Democrats do things like abandon David Bonnier. And explain that one to me.
Well, they did the same thing with Levin's kid. Sander Levin's kid. I can't think of his name now, but you know what I'm talking about? Carl Levin's nephew.
Bonnier used to drive
I know Carl Levin, sure.
Yeah, well, his nephew lost. His nephew got abandoned by the party.
Yeah.
But they kept the seat. That's the most important thing, is you keep the seat.
I don't know. I mean, the Republicans are running into an issue. I think there's a special election in New York State coming up over what's his name?
Santos, yeah.
Which is heating up. It's turning into a very interesting race.
Well, that was a Democratic seat before he won it, right? Wasn't it?
But it's what's his name? Zell, whatever. The guy who ran for governor against Hochul lost, but yet he had coattails. He lost, but yet they got 6 members of the House of Representatives, including Santos, voted in, and he's kind of become the de facto leader of the New York Republican Party, which is interesting because I didn't even know there was a Republican Party in New York.
Oh, come on.
Oh, sure. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, come on.
Well, there was.
Are you kidding?
I mean,
Rudy. No. Rudy.
Look at the map. There's a lot outside of Westchester County.
Yeah.
Oh no, believe me. There's a ton of Republicans in New York. A ton.
Yeah.
Yeah. Once you get upstate, and all that.
Yeah, they've had Republican governors.
We've had 2 Republican in my lifetime. We've had 2 Republican mayors.
Well,
that's right.
Lindsay and
Bloomberg.
And Bloomberg.
They're three.
Well,
Lindsay,
yeah,
Bloomberg, and
Rudy Giuliani.
Man whose makeup runs.
Yeah, he didn't age well. It happens. So
you know something? If he'd stopped farting and letting his makeup run, he'd be okay.
Well, lay off the Italian
Really?
food late night. That'll help. I can't do anything but the makeup, but the gas, I understand. I'm old too. So at any rate, it's an interesting race that's developing out there, and it's not as cut and dried as people think it's going to be. It is going to come down to the wire. I don't know who's going to win it. but it is also seen as a challenge to the modern Republican leadership, as exemplified by Mitch McConnell, who, as I've said on many times, should be working as a naked, greased footstool for Hillary Clinton while she sits in her throne of skulls in the middle of the flaming pentagram, while she sits in a black pantsuits petting a white cat.
Let me tell you about an interesting race, the one for Boebert's seat.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Did
good.
you see what one of her opponents said the other day?
She switched districts.
Yeah, but listen to what her opponent said the other day. This is a Republican who said this. That all of the candidates were at this soiree, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And this one woman said, I would urge everybody here that while we're talking, keep your hands above the table. I'm talking to you, Lauren. And no vaping.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, wow, you're just a target now. You're not even a candidate. You're a target.
Yeah. We'll see.
But she
what
had
happens.
it coming.
Well, you know, and of course, Sam, I'm sure you're aware of this, as is the rest of my Democrat pals, how the scuttlebutt is that Biden will get the nomination, but he will release his delegates, and then that Michelle Obama will be released into
yeah, that's another one of those conspiracy.
That's not going to happen.
No, I don't
think
so either. I find it an interesting sort of thing. It's something to fill airtime with, but yeah, that's and I don't think she'd necessarily be the shoo-in that they say she would be, because she's never held. Say this about Hillary Clinton: she held elective. She won Senate seat not once but twice in New York in her own right. That's not easy to do.
I don't think Michelle Obama wants to be president of the United States.
No, I don't think so either. I think she's like, no, I don't think so. I mean, and we all remember, well, some of us remember the old George Wallace, and they elected his wife because he was term limited.
Lurleen.
And let George do it, that kind of thing. And
well, you know, that used to be all the time, that you would have, when someone died, their wife would take over.
Right.
Hale Boggs, when he died in that plane crash, his wife Lindy Boggs,
Mary Bono,
took over. Yeah, that's happened fairly frequently.
Yeah.
Don't you have someone from Michigan?
Dingle,
you had someone from Michigan do that.
Dingle here in Michigan.
Dingle's
widow. Dingle's widow is and that was his father's seat before that. That seat's been held by a Dingle for what, 80 years now?
Almost, yeah. It's going on 100 years at this point. Yeah. It's been a while.
So his father had it. His father had it for a record number of years.
Right.
And then he had it for a record number. He broke his dad's record and a couple of other guys.
Yeah.
And now his widow is probably going to hold on to it forever too.
Well, when he married her, she was what, 12, and he was 78, something along those lines.
No. She was 11.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're thinking of Crockett.
I love
Davey
Thurman when he died. You know, and we find out the black child that he fathered out of wedlock, and it's like, there you go, Strom. There you go, the big old Dixiecrat that you were. Yeah.
If only it had been. If only it had been a black male that he is having a relationship with.
Oh, by the way,
leave Lindsey Graham out of this.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Exactly.
Is there a more egregious Uncle Tom than Tim Scott?
Yeah, he's also gay. I mean, and he won't admit.
Oh, no. He's got a girlfriend in Canada.
Yes, he does.
No, she's his fiance.
Just like the girlfriend that Corky Lang had in Waiting for Guffman. You know, when what's his name?
Oh, that was hysterical. The best part of that movie is when he was dancing.
Oh my God.
Dancing alone, just shaking. Oh God.
When he's talking about all the clothes that he buys I choose all my wife's clothes.
I've had it with all you people. I'm just going to go home now and bite my pillow. Remember that?
Yes, waiting for Guffman.
You're bastard people. You're all bastard people, and I'm going to go home and bite my pillow. Oh man, that movie, genius! God,
Waiting for Guffman, Best in Show, Spinal Tap,
Trade,
Waiting for Guffman, when the guy's auditioned and he goes, "This is from Raging Bull. You fuck my wife. You fuck my wife. What?"
But there's that one scene that Parker Posey does that got cut out of the movie about her having some incestuous relationship with her brother. That again, it went to, it was improv, and it didn't make it into the movie, but because she did it so fucking well, you're looking at this and going, "Oh my God, this isn't funny anymore. This is wow."
I like when she's standing at the outdoor grill frying one chicken wing. One chicken wing. I mean, I know times are tight, but one chicken wing.
But her
Oh, you know who
role
else is
as
in
the-
that movie playing Dracula? Bob Odenkirk.
Oh,
Huh.
Oh God!
In the audition, they show him.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Her role in Best in Show, where she plays the uptight yuppie going into the pet store to get a busy bee,
Oh,
which
my
is
God.
some dog toy.
Get the goddamn busy bee.
It's not a busy bee. Look at the dog is freaking out. The dog's just sitting there and they're screaming at each other. And again, why the Academy didn't recognize any of those films for being
And Michael Hickok playing playing her husband,
yes.
and he plays
Yes.
the stage manager in a Mighty Wind.
Oh yeah.
Yes. And again, Bob Blablin in that film or
Oh,
Balavin. I
God.
can't. Again, he is again a wonderful actor. And how I don't know. What do they just give the guys the scene and say, "Here's the scene, go for it"? I mean, is that the?
I am told, I don't know if this is true, I am told that it is more tightly written than you might think.
It wouldn't surprise me. Christopher
Because
Guest doesn't come off as a dummy.
Woody Allen is always given credit for letting people improv, and I've read his scripts. You know, you can buy them,
Right.
and every stutter is in the script. In other words, like, you know, who was it, Michael Caine? He's like, but don't you think every
Right.
one of those?
Right.
And I met Dan. I had the privilege of meeting Danny Aiello, and I asked
really?
him, what a sweet, nice man.
Yeah.
And I said, what was it like being directed by Woody Allen? How much is he like hands on? He goes, he's very loose. He just, you know, you learn the lines, but he'll say something like, Danny, I want you to be angrier. And that's it. He
Yeah.
doesn't say, now remember when you were a kid, I want you to be angrier. And then he trusts you to take it to the level he wants, which is amazing. But that's how he directs.
Yeah.
How is Juliet Taylor still doing his casting?
I don't know. Since he had, not because of the scandal, excuse me, but he's moved around with a lot of people. I mean, I know the people who did his costuming for him, but they've moved on to other movies. You know, he's not the only one they do.
But I remember for years Juliet Taylor was his casting director.
Well, I auditioned for her one time in the movie Regarding Henry.
Oh, okay.
And I'll never forget this. I did the part, you know, I did the scene, and they went, that was absolutely perfect. I said, well, thank you. And I left. And a friend of mine was out in the hall, and he said, how'd it go? I said, I didn't get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
When they say something like, by the way, the reason they're so nice to you is because of the union. Okay, when they say things like "thank you very much," that's all union, because it used to be, right, shithead, move, you know, no more, no. It doesn't cost anything just to be nice to, you know, the actor, you know, but they're like, oh, thank you very much for. The only one I thought I had and I didn't get was in Sopranos. I had the Paul Mazursky part of the executive dealer at the poker game.
Sunshine.
And he said, listen, Paul, David really liked you, but Paul's a real good friend of his. He goes, I understand. You know, Paul's struggling financially, and he can't. And the woman's laughing. She's laughing. You know,
Yeah.
he can't get arrested, and you know, this is just, you know, a good friend throwing a loser a bone. And she goes, well, at least you have a good feeling about it. She goes, I'm going to go home and pray for his ankles to break. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, that was a great role. That was
Well,
a great
we're
role.
approaching the 60-minute times, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Here we are. Well, time for me to whip out that music again.
Oh, God, I'm glad you finished that sentence.
Yeah.
Oh, let me whip this out. Woo!
Excuse me while I whip this
Whip
out.
this out.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us here on Monday night for the off night. Hey, you know what? It's episode number, what did I see here? 196. So, okay, we're coming up on 200. We're an actual YouTube. No, with 196. I'd say we're pretty legit.
We're getting there.
We call it the off night. We began as a program on our off night. Pretty much it's become a bunch of old comedy geezers getting together and ramping on a Monday night. That's fine. We take everybody. It just happens to be we the people that have the time. We didn't talk at all about the Comedy Festival.
And next week we'll discuss the Super Bowl.
Next week we will discuss the Super Bowl. Absolutely. But we're here every Monday night at 8 o'clock. The four of us are always here. Sometimes we have them again. But join us if you'd like. Get in touch with me. I'm Mark Sweetman on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and I think I'm Mark Sweetman 11 on Twitter. But anyway, or X or whatever they call it now. But get in touch with me. We'll get you on the show. And thanks you guys for coming. We'll see you again next week, Monday night.
All right.
All right.
Folks. Have a good night.
Talk to you later,
Merry
everybody.
Christmas.